We've had a very good discussion today, and yet at the same time we still have the current existing conditions of our state facing us and facing, more importantly, not the government, but facing the taxpayers of our state. We currently have a $1.2 billion shortfall, a deficit in our economy, or in our government revenue, and yet at the same time we're going deeper in debt by nearly $1 billion. We've talked about the number of jobs, and I'm kind of perplexed by this. Senator Lynch suggested how many jobs that were at risk on the bonding projects in her area. Senator Tomassoni knew the jobs in her area. Even Senator Murphy had an idea of the number of jobs on transportation, but yet we have not had any estimate of what the total job estimate is going to be on this bill by the author. I think we have a right to know. I think the taxpayers have a right to know what kind of jobs are going to be, where they're going to be, how much are they going to be paying in jobs. I think our citizens, if we're going to obligate them into more debt, they have a right to know. After all, it's their jobs, and it's their investment. We're just the ones making the decision on their behalf. You know, I've also wondered about the timing on this. We're only 3 or 4 business days into the entire session, and we're getting to all the good stuff. Now, for the people back home, they don't really realize, but bonding bills are kind of the, I don't know, it's the good stuff out of a legislative session. It's kind of the gifts. It's kind of the things that go back home, you know, the free park benches and things that everyone puts into their campaign literature and brags about what they did back at the legislature for everyone back home. And yet at the same time, we can't tell them what kind of jobs are going to come out either. I think it was Speaker Jennings who once characterized a similar debate. He wanted that debate to be more toward the end of the year because there was a lot more work to be done up front. He kind of characterized it as a parent that said, you don't get your dessert until you eat your vegetables. We're going right to the good stuff. We're going right to the stuff that we bring back home and brag in our campaign literature about what we've done for the people of Minnesota in our constituencies. I don't know why we're in such a rush for it. We even failed to pass an amendment that I thought was rather sincere to determine and study how many jobs in the future could we get out of a bonding bill. This body refused to go forward with that. I don't know how you can answer that in bringing a little bit of accountability to a major bonding bill like this. We have a governor's letter that has forewarned the legislature saying that with a bonding bill of nearly $1 billion, in excess of the Minnesota Management and Budget Department estimating that they could handle a maximum of $725, we're pushing $1 billion. And to quote the governor, in light of the state's structural deficit of the 1.2 that I referred to, this additional fiscal burden is clearly unwise. That's the word from the governor. And he is a major player in the passage of this bill. Well, we've also heard the discount percentage rates on our bond rating. Well, if we continue to max out the card, I'm not sure if we'll get much more of a discount because we're maxing it out. We've heard that there's lower costs and the bids are coming in lower. You know, it kind of reminds me of those credit card advertisements that some of us get in the mail. You can get a credit card for 2%. That's all it'll be changed. And you can pay off something else at a higher interest rate. But what you really end up with is simply more debt and more burden on your family. I don't think lower costs and low bids are necessarily the best thing to justify this bill. I think we need to rely on some of the experts that are telling us $1 billion is just a little too much in light of a shortfall due to the economic condition of our country. And due to those issues, I'd like to recommend that we vote no. And hopefully that this would not pass and that we could redraft it sometime later in the session when we begin to focus on what Senator Roebling says is let's get our priorities right.